What do you say to young entrepreneurs who don't have the ability or the luxury of that time? Like they are on a time crunch and they have to figure out a way because they have to put food on the table and they have to, provide for normal life issues. Do you ever come across people like that in your business or?
Yeah. So there are times when when you are straight up dialing it in and working it. And I will tell you, especially as a young entrepreneur, one of the most important things you can do is dedicate time to your learning and training, right? Number one, as an entrepreneur, you need to understand how to communicate effectively. That involves persuasion, okay? And it involves being able to get someone to say yes. That's like one of the most important, if not the most important things that you can do. It took me a lot of reading and studying and practicing and understanding the forms of human communication to be able to put ideas together properly. And especially because I'm a professional communicator, I had to practice that kind of stuff over and over and over and see how to do it, right? The second thing I needed to understand is how to put people around me that could help do all those other things that I wasn't very good at, right? So we would call that team building. That process, you don't find the right person the first time often, Sometimes that could take 2 or 3 years to really start to build that team that's around you. So there's time in that process. So yeah, I just said you might do 2 emails. And the young entrepreneur is like, well, Ed, I'm doing all my customer service stuff. Remember when I told you about that service company I had where I'm looking at all the emails and stuff like that? Well, it took time and money to put someone in place who was qualified and trained and all that took more work, right? I was doing all the work. I was doing all the customer service stuff. I was doing all the sales stuff and most of the delivery stuff. And I'm dealing with all these other team members who are building websites and stuff. Well, if I bring someone on board, I'm going to actually do more because I got to train her on how to do this and observe and supervise and all that other stuff. And then I get to work less. And so if you're in that stage, dial it in, be as efficient as possible, but work to the place where you can start to outsource those things that you don't like to do or you're not passionate about so that you can begin to create the kind of lifestyle where you can use your brain to make money. So yeah, it's just that process.
Man, Ed, this is good advice. I can tell you spent a lot of time learning this and talking to a lot of people.